This episode of Catch the Craze is brought to you by. What's up, George? What's going on in the House of Craze tonight?
In the House of Craze tonight, we have Miss Carissa Grant. She's going to be talking to us about redemption from her imprint, Worthy Comics. So check that out.
Check it out. Let's get it.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the Dreamer, Medina, and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze Podcast. I'm your host with the most, the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George, the Dreamer, Medina. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another exciting episode of Catch the Craze. We are coming to you live today, April 25th. We have another indie creator. I want to give her a big shout out. I did mess up the name of her imprint. It's Worthy Chaos, not Worthy Comics. So big shout out to her. We're going to be talking to Ms. Grant in just a few minutes about her book Redemption, which is up to issue number 4 on Kickstarter. But before we get to that, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, give us a like, comment, do all that fun stuff. Make sure you hit that bell so that you are reminded when we go live, and which we do on most Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
Yeah, man, it's been quite a week. So, because it's already quite a weekend. But what's going on, Sammy? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing. It's I'm getting ready for my next convention. Another one, man. The Central Texas Comic Con in Waco, Texas. So I go to work Friday morning, and then I leave work and I drive straight to Waco to go and set up my booth and get ready for the weekend. So I'll be staying out in Waco because it's a long drive, and then I get back Sunday night, and Monday morning I fly out for work. For the weekend, so the next 2 weeks I'm traveling, so it's gonna be what's up, Lou in the house?
What up, Lou?
And then the following, I fly out on Monday, I fly back on Friday, then on Saturday, free comic book day, I'll be doing a book signing, and that's gonna be at Geek Out Comics, and that's gonna be dope. I'll be hanging out with a couple of local artists here in Texas, and writer extraordinaire Paul Gomez. Who's actually the sponsor of this episode. So shout out to Paul Gomez, sponsor of Catch the Craze podcast. So yeah, a lot of things going on. And still promoting the Kickstarter. So, the Kickstarter, we're down to the last, as of 8 o'clock my time, would be 9 days left.
Yeah. Still going live. Yeah, we're going to be talking about a few things today. And you mentioned conventions. We're going to be talking about overcoming some of these no's and some of these obstacles that we have at conventions as indies. But before we get to that, yeah, no, Sammy's got the Kickstarter still going for a few more days. He's
Yes.
not an alien; he's Duty
From
from
Uranus.
Uranus. Yeah,
Yes.
and this is the graphic novel. So this is the first 5 chapters compiled into one book. So if you're
Yes.
a collector and you have your comics, you have issues 1 through 4, but don't ever want to open them again, but you want to keep reading the book because you think it's hysterical,
Yes.
this is what you got to get. You have to get the graphic novel because that way you can put those away. You can put those away for posterity. You can, have. I think Sam, you signed most of them, but if you haven't signed them, then you can get them signed whenever you see Sam.
Yeah.
But the graphic novel you can read all the time. You
All
can
the
read,
time. It's
you
just
know what I
like
mean?
what I do with Infinity Gauntlet. Infinity
Right,
Gauntlet,
right.
every Christmas, I pull it out, and I read it. For some reason, I love reading it during the holiday season
Mm.
because I love Infinity Gauntlet. Maybe it's all the colors with all the gems and all that stuff, but I just love that story, and I have it on my shelf, and it still holds well together after all these years. But yeah, I mean, it's 140 pages. It's fun,
Mm.
um, and oh, I do want to say that I just uploaded. I got a couple of people who hit me up and said, "Hey, because as you guys all know, and if you don't know, Duty is in a published newspaper, which starts hitting stores in May next month. And Kid in the Comic, kidinthecomic.com. So you can get the newspaper, which has over 30 other comic strips by industry veterans, and yes, yours truly. And you can actually go to a Kid in a Comic and get the subscription and get, and have it delivered to your home 7 times a year. Um, or you can go to your local comic shop, where they will be available. That stuff will be on a Kid in a Comic, so you'll know where to get it from. Or you can add it on to your basket on this Kickstarter campaign. So there's 5 available that can be added on. So it's going to go fast because there's only 5 available, but you get that first printing newspaper with Duty Designated on My Toilet, the first comic strip to be published. So that's going to be really exciting, and it's so dope. So I'm excited about that too. So that's happening. But yeah, I would love for you to back the Kickstarter, get yourself a copy of Designated on My Toilet, support your brother, and get join Duty's world and have some fun with me. So that stuff is going down. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, big things, big things. I'm very excited today. I want to just report that today I got the news that if you are in the Portland, Oregon area,
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, and Cosmic Monkey Comics is your, local comic book shop. You can walk up in there and you can pick up the Adventures of Wonder Duck. It is on their shelves. So Cosmic Monkey Comics in Portland, Oregon has the Adventures of Wonder Duck on their shelves. And I wanted to give a big shout out to Dark Fire Press, which is my publisher, and Comics Mainstream, who is the distributor who got us into that store. So big shout out to them. Big shout out to Cosmic Monkey. Thank you so much for putting the book in the shelves. And yeah, man, we're going to try to keep hitting up more stores. Keep hitting up more stores. The Adventures of Wonder Duck. If you haven't picked it up, you can go there, or you can go on my website, getyourmeds.com. So check all of that stuff out. You can also pick up my book, Russ 5377, which is on there as well. And, some t-shirts and things like that nature. So check out the website. And yeah, man, I'm going to be walking around another convention, CradleCon in Long Island on May 20th. That is next month. So I'm going to be doing that. I had a really good time in Boston this weekend. Wicked Comic Con was awesome. That was really, really fun.
Yeah, the drummer get wicked.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing more of those. And I think that, I'm scouting them out. I'm scouting out the convention, see which ones I want to do, and go from there.
Yeah, I just got accepted to Denton Comic Art Expo in August. I did it last year, very successful event. I wanted because it's run by the city and it's free to the public, which is freaking amazing.
Nice.
So I did really well. And it's low overhead. That the table costs are so affordable, and so they reached out to me because I wanted 2 tables this year because the demand to be there as vendors was so overwhelming. They couldn't give me 2 tables, but they reached out to me to say, hey, but we can do this for you. So we're going to give you a prime location, a corner spot with extra room on both sides, a big table. We're going to give you a longer table. And I was like, yo, brother, thank you. So much love to the people out in Denton. I'm looking forward to that event. It's going to be dope. That's in August. I'm still waiting on a few other Texas cons that I applied for to get notice on whether or not I got accepted to those. But right now, it looks like just this one and then the Denton Expo, and then we'll see what happens next. And if you haven't checked it out yet, go over to the Art of Samuel and check out the newest episode, how to find your art style. It's pretty dope. And so check that out. I answer also a lot of questions that I get. So I get a lot of DMs. So I've answered 7 of the 20 questions that I received. So every new episode, I'll try to answer a few more of the questions. And if you have any questions that weren't listed on the last episode, just hit me up and I'll add it to the roster. So that's going to be dope.
Rasta. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. Big shout out. Big shout out. Everything. We're doing a lot of things. We're doing a lot of things, and everything is it's happening, man, little by little. You know what I mean? But also don't forget that if you have a comic book that you haven't been able to put out because you don't know how. You don't have a writer. If you're the creator, you don't have a writer. If you're a writer, you have an artist. If you're an artist, you don't know how to print it. You have all of these questions. You can always go to Gig. That's globalindiegroup.com. And if you subscribe today and use CDC50, you get 50% off of your membership on globalindiegroup.com. So check it out. It's growing, and you want to be a part of it. So check that out. But yeah, Sammy, and listen, and again, big shout out to Paul Gomez, the sponsor of the show. That's right. If you guys are interested in sponsoring a show, please go into the show notes and take advantage of it.
Yeah, take advantage. Yes. And there's a discounted sponsorship rate on the Kickstarter. So if you add that on, you'll save $100 on the Kickstarter. So if you just go to Kickstarter, make a pledge, and then add on the sponsorship on Catch the Craze, promote whatever it is you're doing. You're going to do a book signing. You're going to have a Kickstarter, whatever it is. You got a book release party, whatever it is you want to promote. All you have to do is send us a 30-second commercial, and we'll play it. And we'll post it on all of our social media feeds, which is about 12 different social media platforms that we're on. So you get added exposure. So yeah, man, we got some topics today too, right, man?
Yes, sir. We're going to be talking about conventions. It's convention season. We're doing a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So why don't we talk a little bit about conventions?
Meds.
It's time for your medicine.
Overcoming the convention obstacles. What does that mean, bro? What does that mean?
Rocks in the road. All right. So what we're gonna do tonight, right? Because there are a lot of indies that are hitting the conventions now, right? We're not just doing Kickstarters; we're also hitting conventions. I figured we play a little game. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give Sammy an obstacle, and he's gonna let us know how he overcomes it. And I'll sprinkle some of my.
I came to the door. Well. I said it before. Right? I love it.
So these are gonna be pretty simple. The first two are gonna be pretty simple, almost like, hey man, this is what you do. The third one, though, I think we're gonna talk a little bit more about, because the third one I think is one of the hardest. But let's talk about the first one, the easy one.
Okay, your layup. This is layup.
Somebody comes up to you at the table. You did the pitch. You were freaking, phenomenal. You know what I mean? The guy pulls out his wallet. He realizes he has no cash. Oh, man, I have no cash. I only have a card. What do you do?
I got you. I got you. I got Squarespace.
Easy.
I got you, homie. I got all that stuff. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yes, I got PayPal. I got Squarespace.
Bam. That was the other thing. Yes.
I got all of it, homie. What you want?
You gotta have all of it. You gotta have all of it. You gotta have all that Venmo, Zelle. Like you can't give them a reason to walk away from your table. Now let me ask you a question, Sam. The guy has cash, but he only has $100 bill. He got a $5.
First, let me use my pen to make sure it's legit.
Oh, you even got a pen. You even have a pen, you animal.
I got the pen, yes. I ain't playing. Let me make sure it's legit, homie, first. As long as this is good, I got you. Because I always take $300 in cash with me, and I have it in 20s, 10s, 5s, and singles.
Please
just for that.
Please do so, guys.
Yes.
Make sure you have change. There's nothing worse than it's Sunday. The banks aren't open, and you have no change. Make sure you have change. Make sure you have all of these things, whether it's some kind of device that takes credit cards, whether it's a Venmo, and now you can do your little QR codes. You don't even have to have anything else. I mean, the QR codes are on your phone now anyway, so you know how many times we've done
all over my table.
Yeah, so that was an easy one. That was a layup, right? Make sure you have these things. You overcome that obstacle that way. Okay, next obstacle. Nobody's coming to your table. You're standing there, you're smiling, bro. But you got, and I was talking to Keith Gleason. Big shout out to him. I saw him this weekend. He's Indie Comics Relay. Him and Johnny C do that show. Big shout out to them. They're on tomorrow. And you ever get those people that the minute you say, "Hey, how you doing?" they just speed walk past you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, all the time, right? So how do
Oh,
you
they look at
overcome?
you from a distance, and they're just staring at your
Hungry.
stuff from a distance because they're curious.
That's
And they
right.
go, "Hey," and then they go, "Oh, forget
Oh,
it."
gotta go. Gotta go.
Where you
Stereo.
going? Where you going?
So how do we overcome that obstacle? The person who's not willing to take the plunge and come to the table. What do you do?
I'm like, pull up my fancy card.
Hey,
Like, bam!
yo, hey,
So right
yo,
here.
bam.
I said, want a card? Word for free? Yeah, word. Bro, I said, how long you here for?
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah.
Now I got a conversation. How long you here for? I'm here the whole weekend. Yo, you know what? When at your leisure, hit the QR codes in the back, check out my website, check out my work. And if you like it, come back over. I got all my stuff with me.
Oh, yeah.
Bam. That's
Bam.
it. This is my calling card.
Overcoming obstacles. Now listen, you don't have to get fancy. You don't have to go all out like Sammy's doing with the
I'm
trading
so
cards.
fancy.
You just something. You want to have something to be able to hand out to them. Stretch your hand and say, "Hey, here you go. You want to grab that?" Because people see something coming their way. Now listen, you're still gonna get those that are, basically, they dodge you and they move out of the way. You can't do anything about those. But if somebody is willing to take a card from you, they're probably willing to come up to the table. And once you're at the table, now you got to give them your pitch, which you should have as well. You should have a nice pitch, ready to rock when that happens. So
yeah, my pitch is he's not an alien.
That's
He's
it.
Duty from Uranus.
Oh, that's your
Bam!
pitch.
Then they start giggling, and I was like,
and that's it. That's it. It's like that those cards are basically the bait, and then you just gotta reel them in little by little.
That's it. This is what works.
All right. Now this is the one. This is the one that I think it's a little tougher, right? I mean, but okay, not tougher. Well, maybe. But just to add to that one, what we were talking about, I was at Boston Comic Con. I mean, I was at Wicked Comic Con this weekend, and the guys over at GWP. So that's Hector Rodriguez, KJ Murphy, and John Cabales. They were there, and they had a really good idea. We've done this in the past at the. I did that one time with them also at the New York Comic Con, and I saw a couple of people do it. They had a scavenger hunt, right? A scavenger hunt. They basically had anyone who came to the table, they handed them a piece of paper, said, "Hey, you got to hit all of these tables, get signatures from them, come back to this table, and you're going to get a gift." So now people are like, "Oh, cool." Now, all doing this particular scavenger hunt was get a signature.
Wow.
I prefer to have them maybe purchase something, you know what I mean? Right. But the whole idea is get them to the table. And once you got them at the table, then make them fall in love with you.
Yoke them.
I thought that was a very good idea. Get together with some buddies, say, "Hey, you want to be a part of this?" And have the people, because who doesn't like a nice scavenger hunt, right? You're at this place anyway. You might as well hit up some of these tables. So that's also a good idea. Okay, this is the last one, Sam. Ready? Location, bro. Your location on the floor sucks, dude. You're either right next to a vendor who's selling dollar comics. There are people. There's Humberto Ramos is sitting right next to you, bro. He's blocking your entire table, dude. Like, but nobody's wanting to buy because he just wants the autograph. How do you overcome that obstacle?
Take out my Tommy gun.
Hey yo.
So what I would say,
Lou likes that idea. I'm sorry, Sammy. The scavenger hunt idea. I think Lou liked that idea.
Yeah, she liked that. Yes.
But go, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
So I think I had that happen to me at Fan Expo last year. Right, I forgot the name of the writer. It was a writer for Marvel Comics, and his line blocked the entire aisle. All of us. Oof. Like we were all blocked. So we worked the line. We started working. Hey, what what are what are you here for? Do you have And then it's like, oh, who's the writer or what? Oh, cool. How long you been here? Boom. Oh, are you into indie comics? Bah. Oh, well, when you get time, check this out. Since you're not moving, you want to check out my book since you're standing here. Mm-hmm. And that's how we try to do it. And we gave out postcards. At that time, I was giving out postcards. We gave out postcards. Boom, 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 boom. And then I was like, look. If you like a book and you get a book, I'll give you a free sticker. Boom. And so that's what we were doing. So we were just trying to work the line because we had no other choice. Yeah. And it worked because we were working the line, I was able to get a lot of stuff done. and move a lot of units. But the being next to a vendor, that's a little more challenging. I would try to do something with the vendor. I would try to do something like if you get something from the vendor and you get something from us, I'll give you a free sticker. You know what I'm saying? Or try to do some partnership or with the vendor, try to work something out with the vendor to say, hey, if you get this book, go check these guys out. They're giving something else for free if you get one of their books. Something. Try to get creative.
Yeah, you do. I mean, listen, you got to make friends. When
you're not a threat to the vendor.
No.
So
when you're at a convention, and you're like, I think you number one, make friends. You're going to be there for the entire 3 days. Just make friends with the people around you. Make friends to the point where they feel, even if you're having a bad day, maybe they'll say, hey, go check out this guy over here. You know what I mean? Like, because like you said, perfect example. We're not a threat to the vendor. The vendor's going to make their money regardless, right? So if they like you, they're willing to help you out. What I did one year, I was in White Plains, and I was at the library in White Plains when they had one of the shows at the library, and I happened to be sitting next to this small vendor, nothing huge, but he was selling comics out of a box. He was selling like dollar comics out of the box, and so what I did, I had my Rust book at the time. It was like a $20. It was a $15. $20 graphic novel. So what I did was, I was like, all right, cool. What am I going to do here, right? First day, I sold like maybe 10 books, right? It was, it was good. That was a good, nice. 10 books is nice. But I was like, damn, everybody was just passing the table. No matter what I did, they were just going to the dollar bin. So what I did was I ended up just coming out of pocket and saying to the vendor next to me, hey, listen, I'm about to give away $5 vouchers. If I give you $100, can I do $25 vouchers for people to come to my table, buy something from me, buy my graphic novel, and then go to your booth and buy $5 worth of comics from you? He's like, hell yeah, man. So we did the exchange. And the very next day, dude, I sold about 50 books the next day. 50 books. Because people were they were like, wait, $5, I get $5 free over there? I was like, yeah. They were like, yeah, how much is your book? 20. Okay, here you go, 20. I gave them the $5 freaking voucher. They went next door and they didn't just spend $5. Obviously, they were spending a lot more. So the vendor was happy. I was happy. The person in front of me was happy. Everybody was happy. At the end of the thing, I think I had maybe 2 or 3 left. And the vendor was so gracious about the fact that everybody was going there that he just said, yo, dude, he gave me my money back and said, just pick. I got a couple of free comics here. It's Sunday. He didn't want to go home with anything. And he gave me a couple of books. So it worked out. So that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is make friends, get creative, like Sam said, and overcome those. Like none of that stuff should be obstacles at that point. You just got to be able to work and think about, hey, man, what can I do? And not buying just damn. It's gas. She's like, yo, just use a little bit of gas. Move them. Oh,
yeah, but then nobody's gonna come back to your table.
Yo, that has parts over there.
Yeah,
it stinks over there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, no, I mean, listen, there's different ways to overcome obstacles when it comes to these conventions. If you do enough of them, you start getting really creative about how to do that. I've heard people, offer stickers for people to come back. I think Hades was talking about that. I think I was talking to him over the weekend, and he was saying, just give, comeback stickers. Hey, here's a sticker, just come back.
Yeah, that's what I do with the trading cards.
Yeah.
Because on the trading card, it has the QR codes to everything, so they get to choose what they want to do, and there's just and then it always works that. Well, in Puerto Rico, it worked for the third day, so I gave them out in the first 2 days, and on the third day, a lot of them came back and said, you know what, I checked out your website, I like your stuff, I want to get your book. Because they had the QR code and and I seen it because the QR code, the traffic to the website was out of control.
Yeah. She gets a chance to grab a call. That's the other one, right? That's another one that we should talk about. Is like when you're alone, like when you're doing a show by yourself, and you've done a few of those, Sam.
I'm doing another one this weekend.
There you go. So what do you do when you got to use the bathroom? You know what I mean?
I make a sign. I said, "Be back in 5 minutes," and I put a tarp over my table.
Yeah, hope everything's still there when you come
I
back.
cover everything up. I tell the guys to the left and the right of me, I say, "Yo, I'm stepping away," and I just go and go get coffee.
You got to make friends, bro. You got to make the friends. That's why you got to do it.
People, let me tell you about my best friend.
Oh, interesting.
Remember Robin Big?
Robin who?
Robin Big.
Oh, Robin Big. Yes, he died. Didn't he die?
Big, that's right.
Big died, right? Was it Big? Yeah. Because I think Rob's got that other show on TV, some I don't know, some like America's Funniest Home Videos type of show.
Yeah, it's called. Well, he has the factory, and he has
Ridiculousness, I think it's
He
called.
also has Rob Derrick's factory something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who was that guy? He was a skateboarder, right?
He was a skateboarder, and now he is a multi-millionaire. He has his hands in so many different investments. It's out of control, kid.
That's nice.
The kid's the genius.
Money
He's a
makes money,
genius.
baby.
That's it.
That's
it. But yeah, so those are the topics. If you have any comments or opinions on that, let us know. Put it in the comments. What do you do? How creative do you get? Remember, when you're in the game of trying to make back the money you spend, you got to get creative, and you can't get discouraged, because discouragement is easy. Most of the time, I made friends with the attendees.
Nice. That's good. See,
right?
She's playing chess. We playing checkers over here. Good
I
stuff,
know,
man.
I know, right? Shit. So, without further ado, we're going to bring in our guest, and we're going to be talking about her Kickstarter campaign and much more. So, let's bring her in.
Let's do it.
Welcome.
There she is.
Hi.
What's going on, Carissa? How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Worthy chaos. Look at that. Look at those banners. Look at those banners. You look like you're at a convention right now.
Right?
That's amazing.
Yeah. This one was very popular at the conventions with Anubis kicking ass back there.
Yeah. Have you done any conventions this year?
I've done 2 really small ones and 1 really big one that I did not like at all. And then I have 7 more. But
wow.
3 of them are horror cons, so I'm extremely excited about the horror. I've never been to a horror con. I don't know why. It's right up my alley, but so I've got 3, and my idol James O'Barr is at one of them from the Crow, so I'm getting his autograph. I already told my husband, he's like, "Do you need me at any con?" I was like, "Yes, you have to cover the table while I go get an autograph."
Wait, have you ever met him? You never met him?
I've never met him. No, I'm so excited.
He's an interesting guy, man. He's an interesting guy. Nice guy. Nice guy.
Yeah, that's what everyone says. He's nice. Yeah,
he's a nice guy. I mean, that story. I mean, where it came from, right? Like why he wrote the story is very, very.
Yeah. That was that was my favorite graphic novel back in the day, and I used to sketch pictures from it, which I'm really surprised my mom didn't lock me up for, because they're kind of. I mean, one is a horse wrapped in barbed wire. One's a skeleton in a dress. I mean, I did an amazing job, but yeah. So.
Oh man! All right, so let's talk a little bit about you, Chris. I know that you're originally from New York. I think Long Island.
Yep, Long Island. Yeah, Union.
Yes. Yeah. But tell us a little bit about who Carissa Grant is, and how the hell did you get into this whole comic thing?
So I've only been doing this for 6 months. But I wrote the story with a co-writer that we wrote about 11 novels in 2 years while role-playing, just for fun, and absolutely no reason whatsoever. But it was such a great story, and we loved it so much that we're like, we want to see it in comic book form. So here we are. But to get into comics originally was Ghost Rider when I was a teenager, Danny Ketch, and my brother got me into comics. And I loved Ghost Rider. But what got me into writing was Resident Evil 2, the original Resident Evil 2 video game. And I got so obsessed with it that when I found out about role-playing, the day after or the night after I saw Stay Alive in the theater, I found out about role-playing, and they were like, "Oh, you pick a character." And I was like, "How is that not copyrighted?" I'm such an idiot. She's like, "No." And I was like, I don't know. So she goes, "Just pick a character and role play." And I'm looking around my room, and I had a huge cutout of Leon from Resident Evil 4. And I was like, I want to be Claire. So I made it Claire, and I RP'd Claire for 15 years. And I kept this one story idea, and I wrote with tons of people. And I'm dyslexic, so it took about 4 years before I can write really more than a line.
Right.
But I kept this story idea. First, I don't know why. I just kept it to myself. I told a couple people, and they wanted it. And I was like, "No, I'm waiting." And they're like, "What are you waiting for?" I was like, "I don't know." But 15 years later, I met my co-writer, and literally the day I met her, I was like, "You want my role?" And she's like, "I never take roles, but yeah, I do." So that was it. And we've become like sisters, and we still write. We have 5 novels for this story, 5 novels for the spinoff. We're working on the end of the 5th novel this week, actually. I wrote a chapter today, and we have 5 issues done for the prequel. We have 3 issues done for series 2 and Redemption. So there's like 80 issues written already.
Jesus, Carissa.
Yeah.
And Lou makes a good point. I mean, dyslexia is frustrating. And how did you overcome the
Well,
dyslexia to
so
write that many novels? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're doing it. You're doing it.
So when I first started, I was literally a one-liner. I would write one line for the first 2 years. It was one line, and that's how I went about role-playing. And then I was like, oh, I'm just going to push myself a little bit more. And I wound up doing like 3 lines. So it's para, if you want to be specific. And then after 2 years, I don't know what 2 years is the mark, but 2 years, I was like, all right, I'm going to try multi-para. And then I was able to do it. However, I would see these huge replies, and I was like, I am never doing these huge. There's no way I'm ever doing that. Novelaire is just way out of my league. There's no way. I don't get it, whatever. And I ran into somebody that was playing a character from, I don't know if you know Legend of the Seeker, but he was playing the character, and I was an elf. And he's like, you can do this. It's fine. I'll show you. And I went from doing... I was so excited because I got to 1,000 words for my reply. I was so excited.
Wow.
And when I met my co-writer, Jessica, it went from 1,000 to 3 to 6. So I would just sit down and write, 3,000 words, 6,000. I think I wrote my reply I wrote yesterday and today was 5,000 words. So yeah, I got a little better.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing what creativity will do, right? Like the fact that you overcame that using this
It helps
platform
when you're
is pretty
obsessed with the
incredible.
story and you just got to get over it.
Right. Well, yeah, for sure. So how did you go from novels to now writing comic book scripts? And how do you write these scripts? Are they full scripts, or are they kind of like just descriptions for the artist, and then you let them take it from there?
So we couldn't release the novels because they're written in RP format, and we got an editor and said, would this be considered unique or really frustrating? And she's like, there's no way to do this. No one's going to read, from one person and the second person. So she's like, you'd have to smush. She goes, I think it'd be an amazing book and you could probably make money, but you'd have to like combine the two and get rid of like half of it. And we're like, nope, rather make no money than ruin the story or cut the story. We're like, screw this. So we went to, I was going to just print them out for us because I would read the story. Like I probably read each one like 7 or 8 times. So, and they're not short. They're actually 90 to 133,000 words per book. So this isn't a short, and an average book is 70 to 90. So we beat, the average. So, I said, you know what, screw it. We don't need to edit it. It's just for us. I went and tried. I said, we'll print it through like lulus.com, whatever that is. So I decided I wanted to be fancy for us and get, a cover made. So I went and I was looking through all these artists on, I think like Upwork or Fiverr or whatever. And I said, these are all kind of cartoony. Like, don't you want realistic? And she's like, no, cartoony's fine. And I don't know what just sparked in my head. I was like, well, if you don't mind cartoony, what about a comic book? And she's like, okay. So of course I don't think ahead, which is good or bad. I hired an artist and I said, okay, we're gonna do this that day, like the day I decided we're gonna do this. And then I'm in bed and I'm messaging her and I'm like, I don't know how to write a script. I was like, I've got no idea. She's like, you'll figure it out. And I was like, well, shit. So I watched a YouTube video for 20 minutes and I was like, I got this. And I went and converted, the first issue. But funny story, I didn't think of the dialogue being too long. And the letter is like, did you want to see any of the art? Or, and I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that's important. So my first script was 2. So I had 2 issues done. And that's how I learned that dialogue is way different in novels and in comic books. But I do write a whole script. But with this artist, who's absolutely amazing, Jonas DaCosta, this is his first paid job, by the way. So if you guys like his art, you could see how much has progressed through each issue. We butt heads the first issue, like bad. Like he had a vision and I don't know what the hell he's doing. So I had a vision and for the first artist that I originally had, I would just give them, the script and they'd write it exactly how it is. No, not him. He's got like these awesome panels everywhere. And I'm just like, what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing. So we butt heads back and forth. I was yelling constantly. My husband's like, get a new artist. I was like, no, this is the right artist. I just have to figure this out. And
So what were you guys butting heads about? Like specific? Do you have like a page in? Like, can you think of a page or like an example of what you guys were butting heads?
He would make more advanced panels, and there wouldn't be any room for the panels that I had. So like he's turning my panels into these, and then he skips certain. I was like, this is important. This has to be in there. So I decided to compromise. And yeah, it costs more and it's the longer. That's why it's 40 issues for this series. But I cut my panels from 6 to 3 to 4, and then he turns them into 3 to 8. Depending on what he needs. And the second we figured this out, it was like perfect. I mean, everything flowed. We didn't argue. It looked so much better because he had his way, and I liked the way it was coming out. And so after that issue, it was just perfect. And since then, and it wasn't really his fault. We had one cursed page that for some reason, usually he just hands me the page and I'm like, good, we're good to go. Let's go. This one needed like 9 revisions. Like, I don't know what it was about this page. It was so frustrating, and it was the most important page. It was literally the most important page because it was the page that they were like separated for 10 years, like he got arrested and she got, hit by a car, and this one page, and it just kept, I don't know, I called it the cursed page. And when it was finally completed and printed, I was like, I don't even care if it breaks in the printer. This is getting done.
Jesus.
So, but yeah. And, it's been good ever since. So
that was the first issue you're talking about, right?
So what happened was, I don't know if you know this, I think you do, but if you don't, he started issue 2. My first artist kind of screwed me over. I don't want to say kind of. He stole $3,000 from me, and then I tried to fix it with $2,000. And I had a small opening, small campaign before, and people bought it, and it was fine, and everyone said it's fine. So I got this artist to do issue 2, and he was so amazing at it. But everyone kept saying, you don't have to redo 1. It's fine. You're fine. Yeah, okay. So issue 3 comes, and it looks amazing. And I'm like, oh, I love the way these characters look. And so he was going on vacation for a month. And I said, I have a campaign in a few weeks. You want to redo 1? And he's like, okay. So I pretty much threw away the $5,000 and I paid him. And he worked tirelessly. He worked morning and night and weekends, and he got it done before he left, and it was phenomenal, and I loved it, and it was worth every penny.
Wow. So wait, Chris. So the first artist you had, you paid him to do the first issue, and he just never did the work?
So I paid him for an issue and a half because of trust issues that I was way too trusting, and he did 3 complete-ish pages. He was supposed to pencil, ink, color, and letter. And he did 3 of the first pages. And then after that, he penciled most of the book and then left. And then I had to buy an inker and a letter and a colorist, and it cost me a fortune. Damn. And then I paid for the half of the second book, which of course was no longer around. So yeah, so I had a completed book, and I sold like 33 copies of it or something. And Yeah, I know they were in the Philippines, so whether he had a contract or not wouldn't have worked, because I see the questions like, do you have verbal agreements? Yeah, it was, So you know what, though? I'm going to tell you flat out, yes, I wasted $5,000, and yes, it sucks. But if that didn't happen and they worked out, I would never have found my artist. So to me, it was completely utterly worth it, because I love my artist.
Yeah.
And he's literally part of the family and part of the team. He's not just someone I pay. While he was on vacation for a month, and my husband said, don't bother him. I was like, I'm not bothering anybody. I was like, you bother. So 2 weeks in, my co-writer and I are having like withdrawals. Like, we want pages. So we were like, we're not bothering him. 2 weeks in, he messages me and he goes, I miss drawing the story. He goes, I cannot wait until this vacation is over. I was like, are you crazy?
Nice.
And then he kept counting down. He's like, 1 week to go. And I was like, it's an addicting story, right? And he's like, yes. So, and he cracks me up because he doesn't read ahead. So if something happens in the issue, I was like, will they be okay? I was like, will you just draw?
Will they be okay?
This is draw.
That'll be fine.
That's amazing.
So we torture our characters, so I can see why he's concerned.
I know.
Right?
I read the first 3 issues, and yes, you do.
It gets worse.
Big shout out to Aníbal Arroyo, who's on the chat. He's talking about a book called Street Journal, which he worked with a buddy of his, and much like you, Carissa, they would just go at it. Like, it was just one of those things where, like, the writer wants one thing, the artist sees something different, and the artist like, trust me, I know what I'm doing, and the writer's like, no, you don't know, I know, it's my story, what are you doing? So yeah, totally get that whole scenario there.
I'm glad it worked out.
But as far as your style of writing, Carissa, and this is where I will give you a lot of credit, because your book goes back to the old school comics that I used to read, with a lot of thought bubbles.
Yeah. One person has complained, everyone else loves it.
No. And the thought bubbles, because you forget, like what you did, I think what you did in this book, which I enjoyed, was that you do get that sense of what they're thinking about. It's a little, like, I guess if it was art, it would be called stylized. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're doing here. You're bringing it back to, like, the very old school comics where, like, there were a lot of thought. Like, it's not a narrator. The narrator isn't telling you what's going on. It's the character themselves.
It lets you get in their head.
Right. Now, was that done out of necessity because you were converting it, or is it something that you now say, hey, that's just the way I write?
It was both, really. I mean, it's we call them chapters because it's like the novel. And my favorite part of any novel I've ever read was getting in their head. Like, if I see a movie, I usually buy the book because I want to get in their head and be like, what were they thinking? So to me, thinking the way they think and feel, and especially Draven, that he's a demon descendant, he doesn't know how to get his words out. And, you know, he thinks more than he talks. I mean, she talks like me. She just talk, and he's like, thinks everything. And especially in this issue coming up, because they finally get 5 seconds to talk, you know, before they get attacked. But they get 5 seconds to talk, and, you know, all these emotions come out because they've been separated for 10 years. And they obviously both care about each other. I mean, they're soulmates and they have that love for each other. It's been called Romeo and Juliet in Hell, which actually fits pretty well. Right. And, you know, they have these feelings, but they've been closed off. You know, their heart has been closed and they had walls up. So he's trying to get his emotions out and he can't. He just cannot. So you're sensing and you're reading the struggle that's inside his mind. Poor Seraphine is not, though. So she's like, this guy hates me. So they go back and forth, but I really liked getting inside his head. And because it was written, you know, the novel was written that way. And just to make something clear, this story was written by two people. So you have two completely different personalities here. You've got Draven, who was written by my co-writer, and Seraphina, that was written by me. So when you're reading it, his thoughts, his emotions, his actions, his everything is her. So you have these two completely different personalities. So you really are reading two characters, and it gives them a certain life to them, you know. But Draven, yeah, he thinks more than he's sarcastic. He says 2 or 3 words near just to be a jerk. But you know, she's trying to get her emotions out. He's trying to get his emotions out. And I will say, he doesn't get them out anytime soon. He tries, like you see him try, but he's just like, he winds up just saying, don't leave. Like, that's as far as he got. He's got all these cool things he says in his head, how he cares about her, and he means so much to him. Then he's like, just don't leave. And she's like, okay. Right. But, you know, she always feels like a burden to him because they go through all of this survival. I mean, they're being attacked by every single thing on the planet. You know, you got hellhounds and zombies and vampires and everything there you could possibly think of. So the title is her. You know, she's the worthy chaos because he always says she's worth it. And so the burden that she thinks she's giving to him, he fully accepts. You know, everything's worth it to him. So she's the worthy chaos. And in this issue, which you haven't obviously read yet, we introduce our subspecies of vampires, which is clotters. And the clotters are a little bit different. And it comes because I have a criminal justice degree, and it comes a little bit from that. So whenever I used to watch vampire movies and they get cut and they bleed, their heart doesn't beat. So they are not supposed to bleed, and it bothered me. It just bothers me. So for our clotters, their heart beats every 6 hours, just enough to keep off rigor mortis. So their blood is like this disgusting clotted mess, which gives them more strength because they're more solid, and their heart's got to be stronger to like pump that. So if you cut them, it's disgusting and it's like pudding and it's just gross. But because of that, only decapitation and fire will kill them, because staking them in the heart doesn't work. But the other thing that's the worst that I did to my poor characters, they have a hive mind. So the whole family, if they taste your blood, they can find you anywhere you go at any time.
Interesting.
And if you kill one of them, the entire family will track you down and kill you. So of course that's what my poor characters go through, is they accidentally kill one, and now they have to go track down the entire family of vampires to get them all destroyed. So that's about the next 3 issues while they're trying to do that. And they're stronger, and they're insane, and they're faster, and it's not easy. And in the issue 4, I kind of parallel that by, it starts with a bar fight where they kick ass, and then it ends with the vampire fight where they get their ass kicked. So it's kind of like showing you that these characters can really fight, and it doesn't help them at all.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you get to see the contrast of these. So there's a lot of fighting in this. There's like two bar fights, and then they get 5 seconds to talk, and then they have the vampires.
For those who are just joining us, we are talking to Carissa Grant, and we're talking to her about Worthy Chaos Redemption, which is her Kickstarter that is live right now. She has issues 1 through 4. We're talking about the story. We're talking about the characters. How did you come up with this story, Carissa? Like, where did I know that you were mentioning, you did these novels, but where did that idea of having these two almost star-crossed lovers, right? Like Romeo and Juliet.
So,
this whole thing.
The story idea was started because I was studying religions, and just for fun, I've studied all of them, and I just equal opportunity religion here. And I discovered an angel called Remnal, and he judges souls and then carries them to heaven. And this, in my logical, stupid mind, was like, how the hell does he carry these damn souls? What, in his pocket? Like, it drove me crazy. So I invented this little angelic weapon, and this holds the power of souls. So he would load this up with worthy souls and bring it to heaven. And Draven's father was the chaos demon who feeds on the souls. So he would always attack him and try to get the souls away from him. And he wanted the weapon because it has the power of souls. Now, Serafina wound up being made from this weapon, and now they want it back. So they have to kill her in a certain realistic way, in a ritual, to get it back. So pretty much it's them trying to keep her alive so they don't get this weapon. But if either side gets that weapon, heaven or hell, it tips the war in their favor. Though there is actually another reason her father wants it, and he gives a hint to it, but he doesn't flat out say why or how, but he has another reason for it. So I was obsessed with this weapon, and I came up with her being made from it and being an angel descendant, and actually she's kind of a fallen star, and so that whole thing was that. And then I just it didn't seem fair that he wasn't special, so we made him a demon, because that's not really fair. And then we came up with literally so why was he created? Demons don't just randomly have kids, so why did he do this? And what happened was, in the past, which we're going to write the whole prequel, which will probably be another 5 books. We're going to write how the fathers originally met and why they started fighting and all that stuff. So we wrote how the demon, Draven's father, killed her to get the weapon out of her, and it didn't work. She just reincarnated. So what he did was he created Draven to go after her and trick her into giving him the weapon. And instead he fell in love with her. So they became, every time they died, they'd find each other in the next life with no memories of anything that happens in the last. So it's about every 100 years, which we'll eventually write, which means I get to kill my character in so many ways, in so many medieval times and Viking era and whatever.
Yeah, but it really is. Like I was telling you, I was reading the first 3 issues, and it really is interesting how you kind of, it's like an interwoven story of like just these two people finding each other. And it's a love story, right? It's a love story amongst all this chaos and all this craziness, all this horror. Right? Because now, all right, so I have a question for you about Serafina.
Yeah.
Is she a demon hunter? Like how would you characterize who she is?
So in this version, not the spinoff, because there's 2 different versions. In this version, while they were separated for the 10 years, she figured out that her brother was possessed by a demon and became a supernatural hunter, where she hunts down demons and everything because she thought he killed her lover. So she's trying to get revenge. Yes,
that's Lucas.
Lucas, yes, okay. She thinks Lucas killed Draven, and Draven thinks that Lucas killed her. So he became an assassin because he had nothing else, and she had nothing else. So she became, her major goal was to hunt down Lucas, and during that hunt, she would kill whatever was in her way. So she's a demon hunter, but she hunted everything. So she knows about the vampire, she knows about ghosts, and that's why she's sarcastic, where she's like, "Stick your hand through the fence," and he's like, "No." So so that's them. In the spin-off, they don't lose those 10 years because we did a what if they didn't separate for 10 years, and now you had two teenagers with no idea how to hunt or fight or whatever still go through all these things as was teenagers, and you get to see Serafina grow to be that badass in the spinoff. So it's a different take with the same characters, which was very exciting to write, because at first I'm like, well, this is going to be boring. It's two teenagers on the run. Who the hell cares? And then I was like, oh wait, they're getting chased down by demons and monsters and all this stuff, and they have no skill set whatsoever. I mean, they don't even know how to get a job or drive. I mean, he hotwired a car and stole it. So they're on the run that way, and it wound up being such an amazing story that I'm so glad it was written. And I absolutely love that. I love them all, of course. But yeah, so this story it just kind of, we don't think ahead when we write. We probably should, but we just get an idea and jump on it. And then we find a really cool way to connect the two ideas. So the whole story was kind of written in separate, situations. And it became this nice, long freaking story. But we're still doing it now. Like for the spinoff, we're finishing up book 5 while we're still playing on Zombie Island and book 2 because we loved Zombie Island. So we just skipped to the two things, and so that's just how we write. So we're just weird. I don't know to tell you. Like this whole story that I just wrote today, the 5,000 words, I had literally no direction whatsoever. I just sat down. I even told her, I was like, I don't know what my character will write it. My character's in my head. I don't know what's going on. And I would literally just wrote an entire thing, and it came out awesome. Like she went through all these things, and she got swallowed by a giant snake, and it was a lot going on. So yeah. And I will tell you, the story is very thought out. It's actually more complex. I mean, on its basic level, it is a romance survival horror story. But there's so many things going in the background. They're being played as pawns. There's Anubis being controlled by, Remno with the remote control, and all this stuff is going on. But the one thing I would promise you is you will never be bored. Something. I mean, the first 3 are the most chaotic, because they're going through, and book 2 is them in a haunted asylum, and they're fighting off giant salamanders, and they're fighting off ghosts and zombies. And then book 3, which I'm sorry to say that I have a favorite, is my absolute favorite. It is Resident Evil 2, and they're just trapped in a city fighting, zombies, good old fashioned zombies, and some monsters thrown in there, of course. And it's like 12 issues, so that's my favorite.
Well, so. Yeah, Gilbert said he would love to be able to write 500 words in a day. I mean, never mind, what you're doing. So that's awesome.
It used to be 500 words. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. It's not just that I can write. Like when I was RPing with another person, like in the background, just for whatever, because I felt guilty and couldn't get rid of them. It still found a hard time to get 500 words. Yeah, it was a pity RP. Okay, it happens. But yeah, I still have a hard time getting 500 words. But when it comes to the obsession with these characters, it just comes out. It just flows out so easily. Like when I started book 5, I literally had no idea. Now, this is the first book that we've written after we released it as a comic book. So we had all of these before we released it. So this is like new for us. And we had no direction, no idea what to write. And then I literally started writing, and I was like, oh, I know. Like it was like literally a paragraph. It was like, I know exactly what we're going to do. And it did a 180 to something that we'd done before, and then it did a whole circle to what we did in a prequel, and and then everything just comes together. So it's just, the whole story is just, it was just meant to be the way. I don't know how else to say it, but the story was meant to be written, and we were the ones that were meant to write it. And I'll be honest with you, if it isn't even about the money. We just want enough to make them because we want to see them. So like if we were rich, these would just be like given out for free. But we want to see it more than anything. And getting to hear other people love it too. Like we've only heard one person not like it out of everyone that's read it. And afterwards he said for $200 he could fix it. So I'm pretty sure he wasn't. But he was the one that said, thought bubbles are so, retro, don't use those. And I was like, yeah, it's our whole story.
Yeah, I mean they are, but I think it works. It works for
Yeah,
this.
I
Yeah,
like it, and some
yeah,
people loved it. Like some people, like you brought back thought bubbles, and I was
yeah.
like, it
That was
wasn't even intentional. Like I didn't even think of it as being a
yeah,
retro thing. It was just something that the characters had to do. They have to think.
yeah.
So.
No, that stood out to me when I was reading. I was like, oh shoot, like thought bubbles. Wow, that's yeah. I haven't seen these in a while. No, but
Yeah.
it was good. It definitely did work. It definitely did work. So how many issues are we planning here now? You said 12, 40? I mean, I heard different numbers. I'm like,
So there's 5 books,
oh, okay.
and the first 2 have 7 issues each. Book 3 has about 20. It has about 12 issues, and then book 4 and 5 I haven't scripted yet. And I looked at book 5, and I didn't know that it was 133,000 words. So I don't know how many it'll be, but right now it's probably about 40 issues for just this series.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And you're putting them up pretty fast.
My artist is a freaking machine. Now
Yeah.
I love it. My co-writer loves it. My wallet doesn't like it, but it has to be done. And Lori's like, just take a break. And I was like, no, I don't think that's gonna happen. But yeah, he cranks them out. I mean, we're already 8 pages in to issue 5.
Oh,
So
wow. Good for
yeah,
you.
I have the cover done, and I have the 8 pages, and they're awesome. I love them. So.
Well, listen, I love the energy, Chris. I love the energy. I love the enthusiasm. I mean, it's contagious. And honestly, I hope. I mean, you're doing really well at the campaign. I think you're at 1661 right now, 54 backers. You have 20 days to go. The campaigns ends on Tuesday, May 16th at 12:30 p.m. So for those watching, if you have some coin in your pocket, drop it in the bucket.
I will tell you, for anyone that wants to know, that we passed our stretch goal. So
Nice.
for even if you buy a $5 PDF, you're getting 16 other PDFs of issue
cool.
1s from other people.
Nice.
And my $5 is the color version and the black and white version, so you get that. And if you get the PDF, we have other things, like we have a song that we had written and sung for ours. So it's a download for $5. You get the instrumental and the vocal version, which is the lyrics are based on our characters. And the easiest way to find us on Kickstarter, if anyone forgets, the link is just search Worthy Chaos, because we're the only thing that pops up. So it's nice and simple.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome.
I'm glad you like it.
No, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
and the link is in the summary. It's also in the chat as well. So, any final words you want to share with the audience? You want to give your elevator pitch on why they should back this campaign? It's all yours.
I will say, so if you like, it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Supernatural and Silent Hill in the Resident Evil world with the Evil Dead running around. And pretty much the story is, never boring. It's got a lot of twists and turns to it. There's a lot of, things that happen in the background. And it's just a very fun story. And you really get into these characters' heads, and you get to see the depths that they will do for the other person, which is, they test each other out so much, not on purpose, but the world tests them for them. And there's something that happens at the end of book 2 that'll just change the whole thing that happens. And I can't wait to get to that too. So I can't wait for everything. So but yeah, I love this story, and I think a lot of people will love it too, and hopefully they'll come and give it a chance. And like I said, for $5 you can read the story, and you have 16 other issue 1s that, if you don't like mine, you'll like one of those. And they're all in the horror genre pretty much, so really good.
Sweet.
Outstanding. Well, it was a pleasure having you on the show. It's always refreshing. I loved even how you found a positive spin on your first experience with your artist.
Did you see that?
You choked him up. You choked him up.
A fly went in my throat.
Awesome. I'm glad I have that effect on you too.
He was going to say something really nice, Chris. I promise.
I wasn't saying something right now. No, but some people would shatter from that experience, or want to give up, or get very disgruntled, and you found a positive spin on it. And that's why you're having the success you're having. It's the outlook on life. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
What you're doing. You're always welcome back on Catch the Craze.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be paying $35 so I can come back in October, because it's my issue 7 and my graphic novel book 1. So yeah, Gotta talk about that.
All right, Carissa,
Outstanding.
thank you so much. We
All
really
right, thanks,
appreciate you coming
guys. I really
through.
appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'll see you online. We'll see you online.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know you
Thank
have more
you.
shows. I know you have more shows promoting this thing. So
I have 24 more. Well, I had 39 total, so I'm getting through them.
good for you.
Good for
15
you.
down, 24 to
Yeah.
go. Let's go.
Yes, make it
Yeah, I
happen.
got this. If I don't die from exhaustion from it, I got it. So,
All right.
all right,
All
thanks,
right,
guys. I
Chris.
appreciate
Have a
Enjoy.
good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh man, I love it. I
Yes, that
love
was a
it.
great episode.
I love passion like that, man. Somebody
Yes.
who really loves her story. She loves her story. And it's a humble love, right? Because she says, I love it and I hope you love it. You know what I mean? Like she's not
Oh,
saying, yeah, you know.
it's authentic. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
oh
She's
yeah.
genuine,
Oh
and
yeah.
you know, and she's always found a way to be creative, right? And even fighting through dyslexia, right? So it's like I think just having that positive outlook in a world where there's so many cynics and naysayers and all that stuff, whatever, and she's fighting through, you know, and being creative and having fun creating. I think that's the best story.
It's interesting that we were talking about overcoming obstacles at conventions.
Yeah,
And then we have a guest who talks about overcoming obstacles such as dyslexia. You know what I'm saying? Just overcoming that
yeah,
alone is
yeah,
impressive. Then an artist walks away with 3,000 of her hard-earned dollars, and she
Woof.
overcomes that. She just says, "You know what? Who cares?" And her outlook is, "I'm kind of glad it happened because had that not happened, I would not have met the artist I've met now." And
Yeah,
so that outlook and that outlook just tells you everything you need to know about
yeah.
why she's going to be successful and why she's going to do what she's doing.
Yeah, you know, it was like it it was like if you watch the Art of Samuel, the vlog for Puerto Rico, a lot of challenges, right? And there was, and you know, I could have said and cried and over spilled milk, or
Yeah.
said, "Let me find the silver lining in this experience," you know, because not everything's going to go the way you want it, but as long as you keep working and fighting through it and keep moving forward towards your dream, it's going to get better. But you know, you have to, you know, go through the mud a little bit. Sometimes you have to go in the trenches to, you know, get to the waterfall and clean all that mud off, you know, and enjoy your day. But no, that was a great episode. I truly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Again, guys, her Kickstarter is live right now. 20 days left to go. The link is in the chat. It's also in the summary. It's Worthy Chaos Redemption, a horror adventure comic, issues 1 to 4. So yo, check it out if you haven't done so already. But and again, don't forget this weekend. Hit me up. If you're in Texas, come and see me at the Central Texas Comic Con. I'll be there. Paul Gomez, he's actually has a table in Artist Alley too. I just saw him post it. So Paul
Nice.
Gomez is going to be there. A bunch of other people that Paul knows that I'll meet up with over there. And again, you come over to my table, you know, chat it up, pick up a book. You know, you get this nice free Samurai Duty trading card just for coming by and chatting up with your boy in Artist Alley. And then May 6th, you know, come and hang out with me at Geek Out Comics and Collectibles in Texas. And I'll be doing a book signing on Free Comic Day, one of the biggest days. You know, I'll have a table. My table will be alongside Paul's and a couple of other artists. And I'll be signing and selling copies of Disney in my toilet. So come and meet me there. That's going to be dope. And check out a kidinthecomic.com, the newspaper where Duty's a comic strip, which will be distributed nationally, and it's available for order for subscription based to have it delivered to your home if you want so as well. So you have many ways to get your hands on Duty, but you can also get it through the Kickstarter by getting the book and adding it onto your Kickstarter. So if you head over to the Kickstarter, you can get it as an add-on there as well. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and check out Get Your Meds, George.
Yeah, check out the website, getyourmeds.com. I have my comics are on there, my t-shirts, you know, appearances, all kinds of things, all the interviews I've been doing online. So check that out. Also, wanted to give a big shout out to Mr. Anibal Arroyo, who was in the chat. He's got a book out right now on Kickstarter that I lettered. It's called The Dark Form. So check that out on Instagram as well. Big shout out to Lou. Big shout out to Gil. Anibal, thank you so much for Paul, I think was on here as well.
Paul AG, the sponsor of this episode. Yes,
that's right. That's right. And actually, Anibal's going to be on the Nerds of the Round. Big shout out to them tomorrow night on a special episode to talk about the Dark Form. So check that out. Check out
yes.
globalindiegroup.com. all that stuff.
Yeah, and check out the
man.
Prelude to Aurora, which is
Prelude.
our sponsor's Kickstarter. Also, Prelude to Aurora on Kickstarter. 5 days left to go. So check that out. Created by Paul Gomez. So you can just type in Paul Gomez, or you can type in Prelude to Aurora, whichever one floats your fancy. Good. Thank you, Lou. Yeah, fantastic week again. We're not going to have any shows for 2 weeks. We're going to have the Crazy 10 or Less, but I will be traveling for work for 2 weeks. So, but we'll be back. The Crazy 10 or Less will be back every week, and the next time I upload from the next on the Art of Samuel, it'll be from the Texas convention. So you check out that vlog that'll come in about a week after my appearance there, and I will be streaming live from the Free Comic Book Day, the book signing. So check out. I'll be streaming live there. So check that out as well. So with that said, I'm Seth, the Crazy Man, Vera,
George, the Dreamer Medina.
and we are out.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, it's talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him.
Say my name,
Right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh my God.
He described me. He said, "I'm the." What?
Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.